business cards, and they go and buy expensive stationery. We need a filing cabinet for all the filing we're going to do, but we don't have any accounts yet, but let's get a filing cabinet so that we're prepared for that. And they do all of this stuff. They put all of their resources into something, and they have no idea yet whether it's actually going to work or not. And it's the worst way to be. If we have a couple of plates spinning, what it really means is I'm creating opportunities in different areas, and I'm going to see which of these really bites. Because very often, the thing that you thought was going to go down well won't go down well, and something you didn't think was going to be anything will become something big. It's actually like that when you prepare a speech, by the way. You give a story for the first time and you've never told it before, you've always got to have your audience that you break in on a story. And when you have a story that you're breaking in for the first time, the parts you thought were going to be great very often suck. Nothing happens. No one even laughs. You thought it was going to be like a big moment. Nothing happens. And the part that you didn't think was anything, the part that wasn't even supposed to be funny, everyone starts cracking up. And you go, oh, maybe that was the funny bit. So you go back, you rewrite the story around the funny bit. And you get rid of the part that didn't work, and you kind of rehash it, and that's how you create an amazing speech. In business, it's kind of the same. You don't know what parts are going to resonate with people yet. You don't know what product is going to go down the best. You don't know what your market wants. So in the beginning, putting all your resources into something before you know that doesn't work. Have a couple of different plates spinning and see which one works. The beauty of that is, if some big opportunity falls flat, you don't feel like your confidence is solely rooted in that thing. It's a bit like having, if you imagine it like a matrix, and in this matrix, you've got these different opportunities. If this one falls flat, it's okay because you're falling back on these and you're actually allowing yourself to diversify your confidence. If you have a matrix that just says, this is my big opportunity, this is my big break, and then that screws up, then you're in trouble. That was why people will often say to me, with the TV work that I did, because the first time I was doing live TV, I was very, very nervous. But nowhere near as nervous as I would have been if that was the only thing going on in my life. Luckily, I had a business and I had speeches and I had all these other things going on which were really exciting me. So I knew that even if something went wrong on TV, that's okay, I got this whole thing over here. That's what allowed me to be more relaxed. What allows me to be relaxed in this environment is that I got a ton of other things that I'm doing later today and tomorrow and the next day and all different opportunities that actually it's okay. This is okay. If this bombs, I'm going to be okay. And that diversification allows us to be more confident. Have a few plates spinning. This is very, very important. You don't know what is going to come off until you see it. Now, the caveat to this is when you see something start to bite, go with it. When you feel something, this one's working, this opportunity is working, go with it and start diverting more resources to it. Once you find something that works, divert more resources to it. It's a bit like, what happens if I don't know how many of you are familiar with online marketing, but if you were testing, let's say, a pay-per-click campaign on Google, the worst thing you can do is say, right, my budget, all the money I have savings is $1,000. I'm going to put this $1,000 into this campaign. And then you put it there and Google eats it up in a day. Right? And that's your $1,000 gone. And it didn't work. But that's it now. Because if you'd have tested £5 or $5 for the American audience, if you'd have tested 5, you would have then been able to test that to see if it produced anything, and then direct more resources to it if it didn't work, or if it did work rather. If it didn't work, you could try something else. But most people will literally divert all of their initial resources into one thing. They don't even know if it works yet. I'm going to give you a solution to this in a little while, okay? So most of what you do will fall flat. Have a few plates spinning. Next, take every opportunity seriously. Take every opportunity seriously. There are many instances where I see people just not capitalizing on the little opportunities that are around them. And it's because they're kind of being too discerning about what's what. If someone is interested in what you do and wants a meeting, have the meeting. If there's somewhere you can go just to suss something out, go. If there's someone you think might be worth calling, call them. In the beginning, take every opportunity seriously. How many of you seen the film Yes Man? Okay. There's an interesting lesson in that film. What's the lesson he learns at the end? Anyone tell me? What's the lesson he learns at the end of the film? There may be many lessons, but what's the lesson that is kind of obvious?
He done it because he wanted to do it, not just because he had to do it.
Okay, because he wanted to do it. But what does the guy who taught him to say yes in the first place, what's the lesson he says to him when he figures out his whole life went crazy because he said yes?
I can't remember, dude.
Does anyone know? He's in hospital. His life is on meltdown because he said yes to too many things. And he said, you said you say yes to everything. And then the guy in that moment says, in the beginning you say yes to everything. Then you get a little bit more discerning with it. You get a bit more structured with what you say yes to. Now, for me, business is very much like that. In the beginning, when you're starting out and when you're trying to grow, you have to kind of say yes to everything in a sense. That doesn't mean you embark on every journey that someone puts in front of you, but it does mean you entertain it. You go and you meet someone, you find out what's going on, because then you're going to meet lots of different people. Then you're going to find lots of different things come your way. You have to do it in the beginning. As you start to grow, you will start to reject meetings. You will start to do less. You will start to say, close the doors on people because you realize you have to in order to maintain focus. But in the beginning, take every single opportunity seriously. One of the biggest opportunities in my business right now, something that this year alone could take us to an entire new level, is something that when it first came through on an email in my inbox, I thought it was a joke. I didn't know what it was, I didn't know what it was all about, and I almost just spammed it. Just said, no, it's nothing. I chased it up because I'm in the habit of chasing up every single opportunity just to see. Just to see. And this turned out to be the biggest thing to happen in my business so far. So be very, very, very careful. Entertain every opportunity, even if you don't go with it. It's a bit like casting the net really wide, and then when you have your options, then you decide what to focus on. Okay? You get your funnel wide. When you know what's working, you go with it. Now, one of the most important skills I've ever found in business, and this is going to sound so freaking cliched, it's ridiculous, but it amazes me that people, when I work with new business people, and I actually work, because nowadays I do a lot of corporate coaching. When I work with new business people, there's something I find time and time again, and it's that they've completely underrated the value of selling. Whatever you do, whatever business you're looking to run, whatever market you're looking to be in, learn to sell. Get really, really good at it. There's almost this, there's like an arrogance about selling. What's the arrogance amongst people when it comes to that word, sales? What's the arrogance?
It's never taking no for an answer. It's always just ploughing through.
Well, that's the arrogance if you're good at sales.
Yeah.
What's the arrogance of someone who avoids sales? What do they often think?
It should sell itself.
Maybe they think it should sell itself. What else?
You have to suck up.
Yeah, I have to suck. I don't want to sell myself. I don't want to suck up to anyone. I don't have to sell myself. I don't have to sell my product. Or that's someone else's job. Someone else will do that. There's this arrogance amongst so many people that sales is somehow beneath them. That sales is somehow beneath them. And it's a terrible, terrible way to be. Because you're at the top of your business. You are the only person that is truly responsible for making it survive. Because anyone else can just go and get another job. Anyone else can leave tomorrow and find another job. You're the only one who is truly 100% invested in that outcome. No one else cares about it as much as you do. And one of the things I see is people, as soon as they can delegate sales, they delegate sales. As soon as they can remove themselves from that, they'll remove themselves, because I don't want to be involved in selling. I just want to be involved in prettying up the product, putting some more bells and whistles on it. Doesn't even need them. Right? Just doing a few extra things. Oh, there's some paperwork to do. Oh, there's other things to do. What I see everywhere is what we call avoidance activity. Avoidance activity. Avoidance activity is, I'm going to do everything else except the one thing that I really should do. When people get into the whole area of learning about attraction, what do they often do? What do you see in people who often start learning about attraction?
You do all the things that you do all the things that aren't actually what's the word? Kind of that you have to do to actually make someone attracted to you. Do like you read books, you do everything around it, all the noise.
Yeah, the noise. That's a good word for it. You get a guy who enters this area, wants to learn about attraction, and so he says, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I need to get a haircut, and then I need to go and buy some new clothes, because that's really important. And then I need to read more, because it's really important I know everything about this subject. I should probably meet some more guys who are learning about this stuff. I should probably understand more about this area. I should probably get my teeth whitened. I should probably learn some cool places to go. And all of this stuff is just avoidance activity. That's all it is. Now, I'm not saying none of it is important, but it's all the icing on the cake. But people get into that and they indulge in it solely because that is avoidance activity. I can do this as an excuse for not doing the one thing that's actually going to get me results, which is walking up to someone, risking rejection, and trying. That's the only thing that's going to really make the difference. That's the thing that if I do that, remember the law of 20-80%? 20% of what you do is going to get you 80% of the results, but most people live in the 80%. Most people indulge in the 80% their whole life, do 20% like this much. They do the 80% that gets them the 20% of the results. We have to focus on the 20%. What's the 20%? Well, in any new business, the 20% is sales. That's the stuff that's going to get us 80% of the results. And I know businesses where people suddenly get into panic territory, where they've not got any clients, suddenly their cash flow's going down, and they see the business being brought down, and they go, oh God, I've got to get a new client. So they suddenly go out and pitch themselves like their life depends on it. And they get a new client. And then they go, oh, I've got a little bit of cash flow. Okay, well, we can relax now. Let's go and find some new office space. All right, that becomes what they do next. But we have to identify what's the thing that's going to get me there. What's the thing that's going to get me there the most? And not have that arrogance that I'm somehow above sales. We're never above sales. And no matter how big your business gets, you're still never above sales. And in addition, sales, the funny thing is, you're not just selling a product, you're selling yourself. You're selling yourself. I truly believe selling yourself to be one of the most important skills you can ever learn in your whole life. I think it's everything. Whether it's attraction you're focusing on, whether it's business you're focusing on, I think selling yourself is the most important thing you can ever learn. I want to give you a little breakdown of what I think is important in selling yourself, okay? So one of the things I think is important in selling yourself is being passionate about the product. Be passionate about what you're selling, okay? Number one. Two, you cannot be afraid of breaking rapport. Whenever you sell yourself, you cannot be afraid to break rapport. In other words, if I'm always worried about treading on people's toes, I'm never going to be able to truly sell myself. Does that make sense? I'm never going to be able to truly sell myself. Third, speak with authority on the subject that you're talking about. There is never any room for talking from a place that doesn't speak with authority. Never. There's this great poet, a stage poet called Taylor Marley, who said, it's not enough to question authority, you've got to